In the summer, the birds are everywhere, in places they shouldn't be, in places they shouldn't have been able to squeeze into, even in places that seemed to have no entrances. They came in clouds and rested comfortably in the niches mankind had sculpted for itself in steel and concrete. Together they walk, him and his new love, between the concrete towers and underneath a pigeon-speckled salmon sky. "So you really believe you can talk to birds?" she says. He hears a hint of mischief in her voice, or perhaps he's just imagining it. "That's funny," she adds, squeezing his hand. He doesn't like the sound of it. Funny. "You mean lock me up because I'm cuckoo funny? Or Kurt, you're a little quirky funny?" He laughs nervously. "Is there a difference?" she asks, laughing too. Her laugh sounds genuine enough. "So you think I think it's cute," she cuts in. She kisses him, a light feather of a kiss. "Oh, really?" he says. "Yes, really," she assures him, giggling. They walk together in silence for another minute. Around them the city moves. "So what do they tell you?" She breaks the silence. "Don't tell her anything," a pigeon on the street lamp says. "Shut up," he says in his pigeon voice. It's only a whisper, but he knows it can hear. "What?" she asks, looking bewildered. "Oh, my mind just wandered. What did you say?" "Oh, forget it," he hopes she will say. "What do they tell you?" "The birds." "What do they tell you?" "Don't tell her anything. Don't trust her. Don't trust her. Don't trust her," the pigeon on the street lamp sang. "Nothing really. I was just a kid, and perhaps it was just my imagination, and..." He forces a smile. "Plus I haven't heard them in years." "Yeah, but what did they talk to you about?" "Don't tell her anything. You'll regret it if you do. You'll regret it. You'll regret it. You'll regret it." His eyes follow new voices to a signpost where two more pigeons stand like little feathery sentries. "Don't trust her," they sang in clockwork harmony. He unconsciously releases her hand. "Well," she says, wide-eyed. "Don't tell her about us," one pigeon says. "Remember our deal," says another. "Yes, remember," says a third. "Nothing. I can't remember. Why are you making such a big deal of it?" His tone was sharp. "I mean, I'm just curious. Jeez," she says, shrinking a bit. "I'm sorry. It's just that..." Kurt is frightened as he sees a fifth and a sixth pigeon join the ranks. "Don't tell her about us," a seventh announces from somewhere above. The voice is deep and leathery, but in a pigeon way. "Perhaps I'm just a little wound up. Things have been really stressful since we got that Spencer account." "She's evil," declares an eighth pigeon voice. "She's deceitful," a ninth. "She'll hurt you." "Kurt, what's wrong? What are you looking at?" "Get away from her. She'll hurt you. She doesn't like us. She doesn't like you." "Kurt!" "She's just like the others." "Oh, nothing," he says. He hopes she cannot see terror's signature on his face. "It's getting late. Let's take a cab home instead of walking." "Okay," she says, sounding a little unsettled, but no more questions come. He's grateful. It doesn't take long to catch a cab in the moving city. "So I'll see you for dinner," she says as he exits the cab. 8? He thinks he hears a touch of glee in her voice. "I'll be there," he says, smiling. "Okay, see you later, hun," she says as the cab drives away. It's the first time she's called him anything as warm as hun, but he doesn't hear. He's thinking about the pigeon voices. "She'll hurt you," they said. 8 o'clock that night, her door is open and he lets himself in. He's surprised to find she lives in a lavish penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows peer into the night, and dark wood furniture make elegant poses in the great room. Also, their cats, all of 3 of them. The largest is a flawless white Persian, save the single black spot on its nethermost is an emperor on his ornate pet cushion. Kurt is not fond of cats. Make sure you protect yourself. The pigeon that lived above his tiny apartment window sang as he dressed earlier that evening. She's dangerous, she's dangerous, it droned as he laced his best shoes. Make sure you protect yourself. Kurt caresses the long knife in his coat pocket. I'm coming! Her voice floats from the bathroom. From the kitchen comes the stench of roasting duck flesh. The smell offends him. Why don't you take off your coat? She asks, coming up behind him. He mumbles something about having a cold. They eat, they talk, they laugh. He more than her, then she more than him. The duck yet to be served smells strong, pungent. Roasted bird plucked from the sky and stuck in an oven at 350 degrees. When he cannot stand the smell anymore, he tries to escape. Why don't we go out to the balcony? He asks. She looks puzzled, but ends up liking the idea. Okay, but what about dinner? We'll finish later, he says. He injects the right amount of mischief in his voice. She likes it. She doesn't ask about his cold. She opens the large screen door, and the room is invaded by a windrush of night sounds. Soundproof glass, he observes. Nobody can hear you, even if you screamed. This is nice, he says. Very nice. The view, I mean. A bird's eye view. I guess. I hardly ever come out here anymore. Her eyes seem lost in the distance. The cold wind surrounds them as he holds her close. She smells like an April rose. Out here the air is clear, crisp, far from the dirt and industrial flatulence of the city. She leans her weight on him, and he kisses her. Her lips are warm, her body warmer. Then he spots pigeons perched on the balcony's edge. 4 angry little eyes. She's just like the rest, one pigeon says. She's dangerous. You must protect yourself, says the other. He closes his eyes, his ears, his mind. Don't block us out, the pigeons protest. Don't block us out. We love you. I'm going to check the roast, she says, pulling away from his embrace. No, stay with me, he wants to say. Don't leave me out here with them. The words came up and almost choke him, but he knows he mustn't give them voice. She'll never understand. They never understand. She retreats to the kitchen. Leave me alone, he says in his pigeon voice. Why do we always have to play this game, one pigeon says. You know we care about you. But she's been a good girl, a very good girl. No, she's a naughty girl. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Just like, no, please don't, please. Just like her, don't. Remember how she hurt you? How she abandoned you? That is why we had to make her go away. His eyes swelled with tears. The night wind whips a drop across his face. Please, leave me alone. This one is just like the others, Kurt. Trust us. We would never hurt you. We will never abandon you. Trust us. He feels the warmth evaporate from his body, and he is one with the night. Calm washes over him. What shall I do? He asks in his pigeon voice. Protect yourself, one pigeon says. Protect yourself, now, before it's too late, says the other. Protect us before she can hurt us. He pulls the knife from his coat and glides into the apartment. I have to protect us. Inside, she's waiting for him with a sharp machete. She hacks him to many pieces before his knife can find flesh. See, I told you, he was just like the rest, one of the cats says. The Persian. We told you he was evil, said another. Yes, she agrees in her cat voice. He was just like the rest of them. After cleaning up the mess, she feeds the cats a fat, juicy roasted pigeon. The city moves. Heute machen wir eine Ausnahme. Es handelt sich um eine Lesung, mit der ich schon seit Jahren drohe, sie umzusetzen. Diese komplette Kurzgeschichte ist die erste ihrer Art in diesem Podcast und kommt ursprünglich aus einem kleinen Buch mit Kurzgeschichten. Der Autor des Buches mit dem Titel Dark Closet, a collection of delightfully horrifying short stories, ist kein anderer als mein Bruder Kurt Patterson. Und wenn du heute am 17. Dezember 2022 an einer etwas weniger blumigen Geschenkidee für die Weihnachtszeit interessiert bist, kannst du dir das Buch bei Amazon ansehen. Einen direkten Link findest du auf der offiziellen Showpage für Episode 10 unter www.lifeisfeeling.com.